My skull in silver shine, blocking signals from the satellite vine. The CIA is in my TV screen, selling dreams through my microwave beams. Lunar beams try to steal my soul, but this foil hat's my rock and roll. Tinfoil crown, I'm the king of the weird, deflecting the drones and the vibe don't hear. No 5G waves gonna fry my brain. I'm a chrome-plated rebel in the cosmic game. My neighbor's dog's got a microchip stare. He's reporting my thoughts to the men in the air. The grocery clerk's a Martian spy, pushing barcodes that make my third eye cry. But this shiny helm keeps my secrets tight. I'm dancing with shadows in the neon night. Tinfoil crown, I'm the king of the weird, deflecting the drones and the vibes I don't hear. No 5G waves gonna fry my brain. I'm a chrome-plated rebel in the cosmic game.
So the legend and lore behind the tinfoil hat goes far deeper than what you might be able to find online without really having to dig for it like I did. If you search for it, you'll find most search queries from Google or from most AI programs, unless you really start, digging into them. Like, hey, that's not all there is to that. Come on now. We'll bring back the information on Julian Huxley, Aldous Huxley's brother. Aldous Huxley, the philosopher and writer, wrote I don't know how many books, but Julian wrote a few books himself. He was a biologist and a scientist in another field too, if I'm not mistaken. But he wrote a book called The Tissue Culture King, which gets into a science fiction story about a scientist that finds himself in a situation where he's trying to block out mind control programs. So he puts on a tinfoil hat, and that was like in 1926 or 27. But that book was written. So that's what everybody always goes back to, as that's the original source for the conspiracy theorist tinfoil hat. Which, by the way, conspiracy theorist, the saying, was actually coined by the CIA to try to play down anything that they didn't agree with, and that's kind of what they published in papers and put out on TV and radio. I think that was done back in the 60s, actually, right around the same time that this guy that I'm going to talk about, wrote a little bit about here, had his whole life destroyed by some defense contractor companies, some of which are still around today. But yeah, that's going to be what we're getting into today, is going to be a little bit of the history of where the phrase tinfoil hat comes from. So hopefully you enjoy. All right. Who was Leonard Kyle? Leonard Kyle was a rock star in the world of electronics, a self-taught genius who co-invented the Polaroid instant camera and held patents willed to MIT. In his mid-30s, he was a married father of 6, working with top defense contractors like Douglas Aircraft, Honeywell, and EG&G. But Kyle struggled with mood swings and rages, which led him to seek help from psychiatrists at Massachusetts General Hospital. What happened next would change his life forever. In 1967, Kyle underwent a controversial brain surgery called a bilateral amygdalotomy, performed by Dr. Vernon Mark and Dr. Frank Urban. I think this article will get a little bit into them too, but not much. I say article, but this is something that I kind of cooked up myself from various articles that I read myself. The procedure involved implanting electrodes to destroy parts of the amygdala, the brain's emotional control center, to treat what was diagnosed as temporal lobe epilepsy. But here's the kicker. Later evidence, including VA records, suggested Kyle was misdiagnosed and likely had a personality disorder, not epilepsy. Imagine that. The surgery was a disaster, obviously. Kyle was left severely mentally impaired, diagnosed a paranoid schizophrenic, and confined to mental institutions for over a decade. He suffered memory loss from hippocampus damage, was paralyzed from the waist down due to amygdala lesions. So the electrodes they put into his brain caused frequency damage to the cells, and he started growing tumors in his hippocampus. By 1971, he was found wearing a metal wastebasket over his head, claiming it blocked microwaves tormenting him. I think his exact words were, it felt like his brain was on fire. Kyle's surgery wasn't just a medical mishap, however. It's been linked to government mind control experiments, possibly tied to the CIA's infamous MKUltra program. The surgeons, Mark and Irvin, were part of the Boston Violence Project, funded by the National Institute of Mental Health and the Law Enforcement Assistance Administration. This project explored brain implants to control behavior, and in 1971 it received a $500,000 grant from Congress, bypassing standard review processes. Kind of sounds like that stuff, the gain of function, and they just kind of went through with it, Operation Warp Speed, no FDA approval and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, enter the Scientific Engineering Institute, SEI, founded by Edwin Land, Kyle's Polaroid colleague and key figure in the CIA's U-2 spy plane program. SEI was a CIA front, conducted electrode experiments on human subjects, including Viet Cong prisoners of war, at a hospital in South Vietnam. Kyle's surgery reportedly involved a stemoceiver, a remote-controlled brain stimulation device invented by Dr. Jose Delgado, who advocated for physical control of the mind. And that was his quotes. His quote, physical control over the mind. You know, hit it with a hammer. Allegations suggest Kyle was pressured into a procedure with consent obtained under dubious circumstances. Yeah, I would imagine so. You know, threats, all kinds of shit. While direct evidence tying Kyle's case to MKUltra is murky, the connections are hard to ignore. No shit. Freedom of Information Act requests about Mark Irvin and their colleagues, Dr. William Sweet, returned, quote, neither confirm nor deny, end quote. Responses from the CIA, fueling speculation. In other words, we cannot confirm or nor deny whether or not we fried that guy's brain in the name of science or in the name of covering up whatever he may have known about the spy program because he was a genius and was inventing cameras for their spy planes. Either that or he had the patents and they wanted him out of the way so that they could take him and profit off of them in many more ways than just money. The Cold War era was rife with non-consensual experiments, and Kyle's story fits the program of a government pushing ethical boundaries in the name of science. Here's where it gets a little more interesting. Michael Crichton, the mastermind behind Jurassic Park, was a Harvard Medical School graduate who trained at Massachusetts General Hospital in the late 1960s. Around the time of Kyle's surgery in 1972, he published The Terminal Man. Fly in here. He published The Terminal Man, a techno-thriller about Harry Benson, a man with psychomotor epilepsy who undergoes electrode implantation to control seizures. The procedure goes haywire, turning Benson into a violent machine-driven killer. Sounds kind of similar. The parallels to Kyle's case are striking. Both stories involve electrode implants, misdiagnosed brain conditions, and catastrophic outcomes at a prestigious hospital. Crichton's time at Massachusetts General, where he witnessed questionable medical practices, likely informed the novel. His 1970 book, 5 Patients, criticized hospital culture, and The Terminal Man feels like a fictionalized warning about the dangers of psychosurgery, possibly drawing from cases like Kyle's. Yeah, it absolutely did. It absolutely did. So the guy that wrote probably one of your favorite movies, maybe not, one of my old favorites, Jurassic Park, it had some connections to this. Not that he was responsible for it, at least I don't think so anyway. But he wrote a book about this guy and didn't give his family any kind of royalties because his mother sued that institution, that hospital, for malpractice for $2 million, and she didn't win the case. They said that they weren't responsible for it, basically. So they really just ran this guy over the coals, fucked up his entire life, and then just left him out to dry in a fucking mental institution for the rest of his life, paralyzed from the waist down with brain tumors and feeling like his brain was on fire. That's what happens if you're a genius and you rub shoulders with the wrong people and you don't have the criminal mindset to be able to avoid them because they're criminals. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of what I cooked up here. I've been using my laptop to write down my thoughts so that it makes it a little easier to formulate the video and put it all together. But yeah. Anyway, hope that you enjoyed that little bit of history on part of the legacy, the lore, the story behind why people wear tinfoil hats. The crazy people. Some of them might be, some of them might not be. Leonard Kyle, he was given tinfoil to replace the trash can that he was wearing on his head in the mental institution. The hospital there gave him tinfoil to put on his head, and they said that it helped with whatever fire inside of his brain that he was feeling. So there must have been some sort of an effect, some sort of a soothing effect. I doubt that it was some sort of a psychosomatic in his head, pun intended, kind of effect. They probably did feel like his brain was on fire. He had like electrodes inside of his head, and he was probably getting fried by microwaves. He probably did suffer from a lot of pain from that. So there's a lot of studies that goes into that people have done to see just for shits and giggles, and then they found out that it wasn't so shits and giggles. Found out that wearing tinfoil on your head actually does block out microwave radiation and certain waveforms, and will also block out the ability for machines to read your brainwaves. So there's a little bit of truth in every crazy story. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, I know it's a little different than what I normally do, but sometimes I got to get away from the world, put on my tinfoil hat, and have some fun. So if you enjoyed, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, share, do all the YouTube things for me. I appreciate it. I'd like to one day grow this channel into something a little more, maybe be able to afford a better mic that doesn't, sound like shit. I know it's not great, but it's better. The quality is not any better, but the volume is better. You can actually hear me. So do all the YouTube things for me, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.
Listen, man, the lizard people run the DMV. They're stamping my license with a code I can't see. The moon's a hologram, the stars are a lie, and my toaster's been texting the FBI. But this foil, oh this foil, it's my sword, my shield. I'm the shaman of static, and I'll never yield. The radio hums with a government plot. They're hiding the truth in my coffee pot. But I twirl my hat like a UFO spin, keep the gremlins out and the weirdness in. From Area 51 to my backyard trash, this tinfoil's my ticket to a cosmos in full crown. I'm the king of the weird, deflecting the drones and the vibes I don't hear. No 5G waves gonna fry my brain. I'm a chrome-plated rebel in the cosmic game. Oh, for me, baby, in the midnight glow. Shield my mind where the saucers go. I'm the tinfoil prophet, the signal's my foe. Ride the static wave, let the cosmos know.